Long ago, in the cradle of the cosmos where gods breathed stardust and the earth had only begun to spin, there lived a goddess whose presence lit the night sky with silver fire. Her name was Selene, daughter of the Titans Hyperion, god of light, and Thea, goddess of sight and the shimmering ether. Where her brother Helios blazed across the sky with the chariot of the sun, Selene followed in graceful silence, riding her silver steed across the night, cloaked in moonlight, her crown a crescent of burning pearl. This is the story of how Selene, the moon herself, fell in love, not once, but forever. Chapter 1: The Night Before Time. In the age before men carved their names into stone and before the first lyre sang to the stars, the heavens were a canvas. Selene, with her pale hands, painted it anew each evening. She waxed and waned with the rhythm of the world, her silver light pouring across the mountains, kissing the seas, brushing against olive trees and forgotten ruins. But the moon, radiant as she was, held a loneliness deep as the sky. Her siblings, Helios with his sun chariot and Eos, the rosy-fingered dawn, had the company of the day. Selene alone rode the realm of dreams and darkness, where even the gods slept. She craved something more than the eternal glide across the firmament. Chapter 2: The Mortal and the Moon. One night, as she swept across the heavens, she cast her gaze upon the lands of Curia, in the shadow of Mount Latmos. There, lying in the cool grass of a silent meadow, was a shepherd, Endymion. He was not mighty like Heracles, nor clever like Odysseus. But there was a quiet beauty in him, something serene, untouched by war or pride. By moonlight, his skin glowed pale, and his eyes, when they opened briefly, held starlight without even knowing it. Selene paused. For the first time since the cosmos began, the moon hesitated. Every night thereafter, she returned to that meadow to watch him sleep. His dreams were gentle things, dancing with sheep, whispering to the wind, laughing with a younger brother who had long since passed. And Selene, ageless goddess of the moon, fell in love. Chapter 3: A Wish to the Fates. But what future could exist between a mortal and a goddess? She would endure long after his bones became dust. The thought struck her like a thunderbolt hurled by Zeus himself. So Selene did what few dared, she descended from her chariot and walked among mortals. She stood before the cave where Endymion now slept, the mountain wind sighing around her, her moonbeams woven into a cloak of silver mist. There, she whispered a plea not to Endymion, but to the Moirai, the Fates. Grant him endless sleep, not of death, but of dreaming. Let him rest forever, untouched by time, so that I may love him without the cruelty of fate. The Fates, mysterious and merciless, heard her. Perhaps they pitied her. Perhaps they were simply amused. Either way, they granted her request. Endymion slept, his chest rising and falling with an eternal rhythm, untouched by aging. Selene returned each night to kiss his brow and whisper stories of stars and worlds he'd never see. Chapter 4: The Gift and the Curse. Immortality of sleep was a strange gift. In time, Selene bore Endymion 50 daughters, each a representation of the 50 lunar months in an Olympiad. They were called the Meni, and they glided across the heavens like silken threads in a tapestry. Each carried the laughter and gentleness of their father and the radiance of their mother. But not all gods were pleased. Artemis, goddess of the hunt and the moon's later bearer, watched Selene with silent disdain. "You, Selene, gave up the sky for a mortal," she once said. "You, who could light the path for all, chose to hide in the shadow of love." Selene answered only with a smile. For she knew something Artemis did not: love, even when unreturned or unanswered, was its own kind of divinity. Chapter 5: The Forgotten Goddess. As centuries passed, mortals changed. They built cities, sailed seas, and named the stars. But they forgot Selene. They named Artemis as the moon's mistress and worshipped Hecate as the queen of lunar magic. Yet every poet, every dreamer who wandered beneath moonlight and sang songs of longing, they unknowingly paid homage to Selene. Even as temples crumbled and myths twisted, Selene still rode across the night sky, her chariot drawn by snow-white horses or glowing bulls, her hair trailing like mist across the stars. Chapter 6: The Moon's Lament. One night, Selene returned to Mount Latmos. The meadow was overgrown, wild and whispering. The cave still stood, but time had cracked the stone. Inside, Endymion lay as he always had, unchanged, unmoved. Selene sat beside him. She did not speak, not at first. She simply listened to his breath, slow and steady, like the tides she guided. And then, softly, she sang, not with words, but with a melody that only the moon could make. A song of silence and silver, of stars born and extinguished, of love that outlives memory. Epilogue, eternal and ever after. Even now, when you gaze upon the moon and feel a strange, gentle ache in your heart, know that it is Selene watching. Not from pride, nor power, but from love. She is the light in the lover's window, the whisper between tides, the guardian of sleep and longing. For Selene, the moon goddess, does not merely circle the earth. She circles the soul. Before the stars found their permanent places and before the constellations were given names, the skies belonged to the gods, and Selene reigned supreme each night. Selene didn't just appear in the sky, she rode it. Every night, she would harness her glowing silver chariot to a team of magnificent winged horses, their manes made of starlight, their hooves leaving sparks across the firmament. The horses were not just beasts of burden, they were sacred, and they only obeyed Selene. These horses were born from the foam of Oceanus and raised in the depths of the night by Nyx, the primordial goddess of night herself. It was said that if anyone tried to steal one of Selene's moon stallions, they would be struck blind, for mortal eyes could not look directly at them without consequence. One night, a mortal astronomer named Hippolytos claimed he saw one of Selene's stallions stray from the path and descend toward the earth. Obsessed, he climbed to the top of the highest mountain to see for himself. There, he built a silver mirror to try and reflect Selene's light and summon her. Selene, curious and cautious, came down in the form of soft moonlight. She asked why he had called her. Hippolytos said, "I want to ride with you across the stars. I want to see the world through the eyes of the moon." Selene was moved by his desire, but she knew no mortal could survive her full radiance. So, she offered him a gift instead, a vision of what she sees each night, the oceans shimmering like obsidian glass, lovers whispering under her light, beasts prowling in secret, and kingdoms sleeping in silence. When Hippolytos awoke, he was back on his mountain, but forever changed. His eyes gleamed with silvery light, and from then on, he could see what others could not, omens in the stars, whispers of fate in the wind. Selene never returned to him in person, but each night, when he looked up, the moon winked, as if to say, "Once you've seen with moonlight, you never see the same again."